The International Civil Aviation Organization caps power banks on flights to 2 per passenger. Deputy Chief Secretary Chet Wing-Heng explains arrangements for Waffle Court residents to collect personal items. And Secretary for Labor and Welfare Chris Sun explains the upcoming ban on smoking among construction workers. Good evening and welcome to TVB News. The International Civil Aviation Organization has introduced new power bank restrictions to improve aviation safety, capping power banks at 2 per passenger on flights. Samantha Lee reports.
The International Civil Aviation Organization, or ICAO, made an announcement on Friday, stating that travelers can bring no more than 2 power banks on flights. Furthermore, passengers are prohibited from recharging these devices during the flight. Flight crews, however, may continue to carry and use power banks as required for aircraft operations. Thus, as the aviation body said, the measures are designed to address emerging risks and enhance safety for both passengers and airlines. The decision followed expert recommendations and an independent technical assessment. Supplementary documents detailing the technical specifications will be distributed to all member states soon. This passenger, who just came back from the UK, says carrying multiple charges is unnecessary. He believes the new regulations should focus on ensuring the quality of charges to avoid risks such as explosions and other safety concerns. A tourist from Beijing says the new rule seems reasonable, as rentals are everywhere. Back in March 2025, a Hong Kong Airlines flight from Hangzhou to Hong Kong was forced to make an emergency diversion to Fuzhou after a power bank caught fire in an overhead bin. Following the incident, the Civil Aviation Department updated its guidelines, prohibiting the passengers on local carriers from using external chargers or storing them in overhead bins during flight. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
A Hong Kong resident detained for illegal work in Southeast Asian country has been rescued. The Security Bureau received a request for assistance from a Hong Kong resident detained for illegal work in Myanmar earlier. The Bureau liaised with a number of organizations and launched a joint rescue operation. The Hong Kong resident was rescued and transferred to Thailand yesterday. A dedicated task force arranged him to meet with his family in Thailand. The Hong Kong resident said he felt like experiencing a horror movie in the past few days and thanks the task force members for visiting Thailand to save him. The task force will make arrangements for his return to Hong Kong as soon as possible. Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration Chet Wing-Heng said a 3-hour time window should be sufficient for Waffle Court residents to return home and collect personal items. The government on Friday announced that residents could return to their units between April 20th and May 5th. Most 9 reports.
More than 4 months after the typhoon blaze, the government will now allow residents of the 7 Waffle Court buildings to revisit their units and collect personal belongings in 3 rounds. 4 people from each household are allowed to return to their flat and stay there for no more than 3 hours. Some residents said 3 hours are too short. Speaking on a radio program, Deputy Chief Secretary Chet Wing-Heng said the time window should be sufficient for residents because they would know where to find the needed items. Chet said residents with mobility issues ought to avoid going up the buildings, adding that safety is a key priority. He hopes individuals can understand that the conditions of some blocks are dangerous, so they should select what to take with them carefully. Moments 9, TVB News.
The government is set to amend the law to ban smoking at construction sites. Secretary for Labor and Welfare Chris Sun stated that the move will aid the Labor Department in combating smoking violations among construction workers. He said if contractors implement proper preventive measures, they will not face penalties. Samantha Lee has more.
The tragic fire in Waffle Court revealed that construction workers were smoking at sites. The government has proposed an amendment to prohibit smoking in all areas of construction sites. Violators will face a fixed fine of $3,000, while contractors will be fined up to $400,000.
3車1張係講室內啊嘛。
Speaking on a radio program, Secretary for Labour and Welfare Chris Soon noted that the current smoking ban only covers indoor areas. After the revised law take effect, smoking will not be allowed on scaffolding and vacant units undergoing renovation. Contractors, however, may not face court penalties if they have preventive measures in place. The proposed amendments will be discussed at the Legislative Council Monday. Meanwhile, the $2 public transport fare concession scheme will be adjusted to a $2 flat rate or 80% discount starting next Friday. Chris Soon said the reconfiguration, testing and final review for over 17,000 Octopus readers were completed. He believes the change will not discourage the elderly from going out. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Iranian-backed Houthi in Yemen confirmed on Saturday that they had launched a missile attack on Israel for the first time since the recent conflicts broke out in the Middle East. Israel said it will intensify attacks on Iran after Tehran has ignored warnings of not attacking civilians. Mosinai reports.
Air raid alerts went off on Friday night in West Bank, day 28 of the conflict, as missiles were seen streaking across the sky. U.S. authorities said Iran had fired a missile at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia on Friday, leading to multiple injuries of its officers. On his social media, U.S. President Donald Trump said that one American aircraft was damaged but not destroyed in the attack. Iran was also under attack on the same day. Iranian authorities claim two of its nuclear power facilities, the Kondab Heavy Water Research Reactor and a uranium processing plant in Adakan, have been struck by U.S. and Israel. Israeli authorities confirmed the strike, stressing that the country will continue to weaken Iran's nuclear plan. Israel said it will expand and escalate attacks on Iran because Tehran has ignored warnings to stop firing missiles at Israelis. According to Iranian media, Tehran has mobilized more than 1 million troops to counter what it described as a potential suicidal U.S.-Israel ground war. Speaking in Florida on Friday, Donald Trump said the war in Iran would turn the U.S. more successful.
As you know, we're gathered at a moment of bold action and historic decision to make America and our allies safer and stronger, more prosperous, more successful than ever before. Tonight, we're closer than ever to the rise of the Middle East that is finally free at last from Iranian terror, aggression, and nuclear blackmail.
Marco Rubio, U.S. Secretary of State, meanwhile, said that the war could be ended in the next few weeks instead of months. Momus 9, TVB News.
And still ahead, Indonesia has announced a social media ban for minors. And Pope Leo XIV is visiting Monaco. Art Basel is hosting Hongqi Association students' artwork. Welcome back. Indonesia has announced a social media ban for minors, set to be implemented in phases, and the measure is the first of its kind in Southeast Asia.
Starting on Saturday, children under the age of 16 will no longer be able to access social media under Indonesia's latest regulation. As it will be implemented in several phases, the measure currently blocks children from social media platforms, including YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Local authorities said the measure was taken in hopes of preventing youngsters from online pornography, scams, cyberbullying, and internet addiction. The local government said the regulation was necessary to ensure the next generation's future. Josephine, a 13-year-old resident of Jakarta, says she used to spend around 4 hours a day using social media and playing online games.
Tapi kalau di HP juga sebenarnya kan ada game-game lain yang.
She said she can always play other games on her phone and not only online ones, but would try to spend more time with her friends. Some Indonesian parents said it's a challenge getting children born after the 2010s to abandon social media, as it is already a major part of their lives. Some local organizations focusing on children's online safety cited reports that indicated the adverse effect that social media has on youngsters' mental health, with increased use possibly leading to anxiety or depression. A similar ban was introduced by Australia in December last year, becoming the first country to do so. Countries such as France, the UK, and New Zealand are also considering to implement a similar measure.
Forensic scientist Henry Chang-Yu Lee, also known as the Chinese-American Sherlock Holmes, has died at his home in Nevada in the U.S. on Friday. He was 87. Lee earned international acclaim through his involvement in a list of high-profile cases like the shooting of former Taiwanese leader Chen Shui-bian and the O.J. Simpson murder trial. Danny Zhou looks back on the investigator's illustrious career.
The shooting of Chen Shui-bian took place on March the 19th, 2004, on the eve of Taiwan's general election. A bullet grazed Chen's abdomen and another injured then Vice President Annette Lu during a campaign parade in the city of Tainan. Dr. Henry Lee was asked to view evidence on the shattered car windshield, the bullet's trajectory, and the crime scene. Lee's team determined Chen had gunshot injury after examining, but said it cannot be further conjectured as the wound started to heal. They also deduced that the suspect probably fired from afar, reporting that no gunpowder residue was found on Chen's clothing. In 2005, Lee said in an interview that the case was still mystery-riddled. This as Cheng Yi-xiong, who was named to be the shooter, died by an allegedly suicide shortly after the incident and was cremated immediately. The suspect's clothes, belongings and farewell letter were also burnt. Falling short of direct evidence, Lee said forensic scientists were unable to make further elucidation. Born in November 1938 in Rugao, Jiangsu province in the mainland, Lee and his family moved to Taiwan, where he became the youngest police captain at the local community. He reportedly worked as forensic expert in over 40 different countries and all 50 states of the US, having provided consulting services for around 600 law enforcement agencies. Some of the well-known cases that Lee worked on include the re-examination of John F. Kennedy's assassination and the 1994 murder trial of former NFL star O.J. Simpson, who was accused of slaying his ex-wife. According to TVBS, Lee spent much of his career in academia. He joined the University of New Haven in Connecticut in 1975 and founded the Henry C. Lee Institute of Forensic Science in 1998, before launching the Crime Scene Center. Lee had authored or co-authored over 40 books. The university's president hailed Lee's lifelong dedication to forensic study and said he worked until the last minute. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Pope Leo XIV has arrived in Monaco on Saturday, becoming the first pope in nearly 5 centuries to visit the glitzy Mediterranean enclave. The Pope arrived in Monaco by helicopter, where Catholicism is the state religion and relations between civil institutions and the Church remain significant in public life. The Pope was welcomed by Prince Albert and will celebrate Mass at Stade Louis II. Catholicism is Monaco's official religion, and its government, headed by Prince Albert, recently refused to legalize abortion by citing the important role Catholicism plays in its society. Apart from showcasing top international artists' work, Art Basel is also hosting Hongqi Association students' artwork. The association hopes to show visitors the daily life of their students through their art pieces. The International Art Show runs between Friday and Sunday at Wan Chai Convention and Exhibition Center. Mosinai reports.
Does this booth give off a vintage, cozy vibe? This is the exhibition of the Houthi Association at Art Basel. While it's Houthi's 3rd appearance at the international art event, this is the first year that the association has set up a booth. Themed under Whispers of Form, the exhibition displays artwork of 15 Houthi students and members. Under the guidance of local artist Stephen Wong, the young people with intellectual disabilities chose to present visitors with sketches of landscapes that are most familiar to them, the surroundings of Pine Hill Village, home to the association. Ji Ting, who always enjoys drawing, produced this jackfruit artwork during an outdoor sketching session with Wong. Asked her reasons for drawing the tree, Ji Ting said she was curious why some trees would bear fruit and others wouldn't. While she felt nervous for showing her art piece to the public, the artist said it's also her honor. The association said the exhibition acts as a new platform, allowing Houthi artists to show themselves.
They also give the opportunity where we can see art through the unique lens or pens of our artists, who might have a different unique background. But certainly this is what they do well instead of what they are being described as disabled.
An interactive section is set up in the booth, allowing visitors to put stamps on postcards to experience a collage of artwork.
We hope that people who come into our booth aren't just looking at the artworks. We hope that they can also interact. So we've turned some of those drawings into stamps, and guests can come in and create their own house through the stamping process. And we hope that that will leave them with a memory and also a way to rethink and reposition what home is to them.
Here at the booth, visitors can also learn more about the history of Houthi Association through the old photos in this photo album. Memos 9, TVB News.
The Earth Hour Lights Out event will take place tonight, with a symphony of lights in Victoria Harbour suspended for the evening. A symphony of lights will be cancelled tonight, but will resume at 8 p.m. tomorrow. The arrangement is intended to encourage individuals and businesses to switch off non-essential lights for 1 hour starting 8:30 p.m. The purpose is to raise awareness for climate change and biodiversity. And that's the news. Thanks for watching.